What if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? One moment, everything is normal, the sky, the breeze, the hum of daily life. The next moment, silence, and then chaos. Earth's rotation halts in an instant, but the air, the oceans, everything not firmly attached to bedrock, it keeps moving at over 1,000 miles per hour. At the equator, that's how fast the surface of Earth is spinning, roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour. So when the planet itself stops, that momentum has to go somewhere. Cities would tear themselves apart, trees, cars. People launched eastward at supersonic speeds. Skyscrapers would collapse. Bridges would shear off their foundations, and entire landscapes would be erased in seconds. And that's just the beginning. The atmosphere wouldn't stop spinning either. Winds would roar across the planet at hypersonic speed. These aren't just hurricanes. They're shockwaves of air traveling faster than sound. Ripping through anything left standing, the wind alone could flatten every building on Earth, but worse still is what the wind would be carrying. Steel, concrete, entire buildings, now deadly debris moving like missiles. Oceans, too, would respond violently. Water near the equator would surge eastward. Pulled by inertia and uninhibited by the now stationary crust, gigantic tsunamis would strike. Coastlines, pushing miles inland and drowning cities in minutes. And as the Earth's equatorial bulge, a result of its rotation, relaxed, the oceans would slowly begin to migrate toward the poles. The equator, once sea-covered, would start to dry and rise. Meanwhile, the Arctic and Antarctic would flood, creating entirely new oceans and drowning the coldest places on Earth. Without Earth's rotation, the Coriolis effect disappears. That means our entire weather system breaks down. No jet streams, no trade winds, no hurricanes in the usual sense. Instead, we'd have chaotic, unpredictable superstorms. The air would stop circulating in familiar patterns, and climate zones would collapse. But even that wouldn't matter compared to what's coming next. With no spin, Earth no longer rotates relative to the sun. That means one half of the planet would face the sun constantly, while the other half sits in endless night. The day side would bake under relentless sunlight, temperatures soaring past 60 Celsius, hot enough to kill crops, collapse power grids, and cause massive wildfires. The night side would freeze, not just cold, but deep space cold, dropping well below -70 C, freezing oceans, and creating an eternal polar night. Life as we know it wouldn't survive on the surface. Most humans would die within the first few minutes from violent winds, debris, or flooding. But some, deep underground, in bunkers or research stations, might make it through the initial catastrophe. Survival would depend on being far from the equator and well below ground. Over time, the only habitable place would be the thin line between the scorched half and the frozen half. The twilight zone, a narrow strip of dusk where temperatures are tolerable. Light is dim but steady, and life might barely cling on. There, humans could build underground cities, powered by geothermal energy, shielded from radiation, and lit by artificial suns. Farming would move indoors. Oxygen and water would be recycled. Society would become completely self-contained. Meanwhile, the moon would continue orbiting Earth, unaffected by our sudden stop. In fact, it would start pulling on us, just like it always has. Over thousands of years, the moon's gravitational pull could begin spinning Earth again, ever so slightly, but this wouldn't bring back 24-hour days. A full rotation could take thousands of years. And by then, whatever's left of humanity would have adapted to a world without sunrise or sunset. So, what if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Inertia would tear the surface apart. Winds would destroy everything not already destroyed by water. The climate would fracture. Oceans would relocate. And only a narrow slice of land between darkness and fire would remain habitable. Earth wouldn't stop being a planet, but it would stop being familiar. The rules that have shaped life for billions of years would vanish in an instant. And the real question is, would anyone be left to remember what it used to be like? If this blew your mind, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment. Where would you try to survive? An endless night or a never-ending day?